did you know Amy Madigan just set the record for the longest gap between Oscar nominations? 40 years, and then she actually won. Like, that's not a comeback, that's a legend move.
All right, let's get into it. I'm Emma, this is Emma Spills the Tea, and I am feeling very intrigued today because the Amy Madigan story is, a total vibe for anyone who ever dreamed of a second act.
So, let's talk. Amy Madigan, an American actress who has basically done it all: film, television, theater, producing, and even stage directing. She started out in music in the 1970s, pivoted to acting in the 1980s, collected awards, and shattered expectations with a late-career sleigh in Weapons, a 2025 horror mystery from Zach Kreger, the filmmaker behind Barbarian. Then in 2026, she won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. High-key iconic. The kicker? Her first Oscar nomination was back in the mid-1980s for Twice in a Lifetime, and the gap between that and Weapons is 40 years, a record for any actress. Tell me why that's giving endurance athlete meets Shakespearean queen energy. Let me set the scene with a quick personal story. I once had a job writing copy for a brand that will remain nameless. I was good at it, but I wasn't writing my own material, just polishing other people's ideas. It felt like singing someone else's playlist. Cute for a second, then soul-crushing. I started recording voice notes at night, little monologues about fashion fails and celebrity no-goes. And eventually I jumped, launched the show, and it clicked. The thing I was afraid to do was the thing I was built to do. Amy had a similar energy shift. She toured as a rock vocalist in the 1970s, and even gigged solo on piano in Dallas, but felt limited by not writing her own songs. Acting opened the door to characters and stories she could inhabit and shape, that creative oxygen. And honestly, I love that for her. It's the rare career glow-up that isn't about fame, it's about agency. Okay, let's move on to the Amy timeline. LA 5 style. She was born in Chicago in 1950. Her dad, John Day Madigan, was a Newsweek journalist and TV political commentator, so dinner table convos were not small talk. Her mom, Dolores, was an administrative assistant and community theater actress, which is adorable and absolutely formative. Amy studied philosophy at Marquette in the early 1970s, built-in critical thinking mode, then moved to Los Angeles in the mid-1970s for Lee Strasberg training, a famous method acting school. First TV came in 1981, and her first film in 1982 with Love Child, and she was a Golden Globe nominee right out of the gate. Not mid, not even close. Then she's in The Day After in 1983, the massive TV event about nuclear war. By 1985, Twice in a Lifetime lands her Oscar and Globe nods. She hits off-Broadway in 1987. By 1989, she's Annie Kinsella in Field of Dreams, the Kevin Costner baseball fantasy classic. And the same year, she's Chanice in Uncle Buck, the John Hughes comedy with John Candy, the king of cozy chaos. Range for days, honey. Also in 1989, she plays attorney Sarah Weddington, who argued Roe v. Wade before the Supreme Court, in the TV film Roe v. Wade, and wins a Golden Globe. The thrill line, she gravitates to stories with social stakes. You see it again in The Laramie Project in 2002 about the aftermath of the Matthew Shepard hate crime, and in The Path to 9/11 in 2006, a political miniseries. That's not random. Her dad's journalism DNA shows.
Now, important people. Ed Harris. He's the actor and director from films like Apollo 13 and The Truman Show, and he's also Amy's husband since 1983. They are, no joke, the perfect couple for art nerds, and they collaborate all the time. In 1985, they co-star in Alamo Bay, a drama by Louis Malle, and in 1996, they produced and starred in Riders of the Purple Sage, adapting the classic Western. In 2000, Ed directs Pollock, the biopic about Jackson Pollock, with Amy as Peggy Guggenheim, the art collector who launched Giants. That's spouses turning their living room debates into cinema. I'm obsessed.
The tricky part of couple collabs is balance. She's talked about lean years, particularly for women over 50. In 2010, in an LA Times interview, she was blunt about roles drying up. And in 2025, talking to the New York Times, she reiterated, "You grab the good ones and don't take them for granted. That's the reality, cut with grace." Meanwhile, they're raising a daughter and doing theater, like her Stella in Streetcar on Broadway in 1992, and later her Hallie in Buried Child off-Broadway in 2016, that even transferred to London's West End. That's a two-artist household with stamina. And the late career twist. In 2025, director Zach Kreger, who's that horror guy with a taste for social tension, casts her in Weapons as Gladys, the eccentric great aunt in a community rocked by missing kids. Creepy, layered, unsettling. Critics and awards circuits went wild. New York Film Critics Circle, Critics' Choice, Globe nomination. Then the Academy in 2026 says, yep, that's the one, she wins. 40 years after her first Oscar nod. That's not just a win, it's a message. Okay, pause. Ageism in Hollywood is still a big yikes. We pretend the industry's evolved because streaming drops a buzzy series with a woman over 50 once a quarter. But structural habits die hard. Greenlight math still skews to youth fantasies. My take, the audience is already there for actresses with experience. It's the gatekeepers playing catch-up. Give women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s real leads, not just scene-stealing aunts or trauma moms, and watch the receipts roll in. And yes, put them behind the camera too, directors, showrunners, execs. That's where the pipeline stops clogging. Amy has said it plainly. Opportunities thin out. You make peace, and when the door opens, sprint. She did exactly that with Weapons, and it's proof that a single role can recalibrate an entire narrative. I mean, the longest nomination gap on record, that's a flex that punches right through the age ceiling. Now, lasting relevance. Field of Dreams from 1989 still lives rent-free in culture. It's shorthand for heartland nostalgia and magical thinking about second chances, and she's the still-spined wife who says yes to the leap. And in Uncle Buck that same year with John Candy, she pivots to warm, funny, grounded girlfriend energy. Two different vibes, same year, both hits. That's how you become part of people's memory banks. And let's not skip the identity layers. She's Catholic, third-generation Irish-American, and that background reads in how she approaches stories about conscience and community. Roe vs. Wade, The Laramie Project. You feel the moral inquiry without the sermon. That's rare. Oh, and this detail I love. While she kept working across mediums, she also stepped into producing and stage directing, like Off the King's Road in 2015, and even served on the board at Reed College, a fiercely independent liberal arts school in Portland. That's a civic-minded flex, art plus governance, and not a common combo in Hollywood. Okay, let's unwrap the takeaway. Amy Madigan is a career chameleon, not because she disappears, but because she adapts. Music to acting, screen to stage to directing, family to work and back again, she shifts, learns, and shows up. And then, when the industry finally remembers what she can do, she shows up and eats. Yas queen. Next, we've got a tease, another versatile actress from the same era who can play tender in one film and terrifying in the next. If you know, you know. Bring your popcorn and your feelings. Alright, what's next? Your homework is to rewatch Field of Dreams, then find Weapons and clock how experience sharpens a performance. And remember, we are all allowed multiple acts. So that's the tea, folks. Navigate your plot twist with grace, grit, and a little main character energy. Later.